get to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have 5 or 6 alert days now posted for Friday and Saturday as triple-digit heat. It may be even record-breaking heat. We'll be with us. Details coming up in your 5 or 6 forecast.
Now on News Channel 6 at 4, the community of Wagner is mourning the loss of a beloved teacher. Details on the tragedy in South Carolina. And a local high school player is home after getting hurt during a recent football game. His mom shares his recovery process. Plus, Augusta's mayor with an update on what's next for the Olive Road overpass. As your news at 4 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you for joining us. Brad is off today. Coverage you can count on begins with a South Carolina community mourning the loss of a local teacher after she was killed in a freak accident yesterday. Junelle Robinson was hit by a falling power pole after a work truck hit some power lines pulling down the poles. Robinson was a teacher at Wagner Sally High School. Students, staff, and community members are in shock as they grieve the loss of a beloved teacher, daughter, and friend.
When I learned the details, it was very alarming to remember that, you have to count your blessings each day. And to be able to just walk outside and just go on a lunch break to run to the store, it could simply change everything.
Tomorrow's football game and open house at Wagner Sally High School have been canceled to honor Robinson. We are learning new details about the North Augusta football player who was taken off the field on a stretcher at last week's game against Evans. News Channel 6's Graham Lee joins us now in the studio with the latest. Graham?
Yeah, Jenny, Walker Robinson's life turned upside down after that collision last Friday. His parents say after watching him play football for the last 10 years, they weren't expecting this to happen. Walker fractured 3 vertebrae in the upper part of the spine and also suffered a severe concussion as a result of a collision with a teammate. He was transported to the AU Trauma Center where doctors evaluated him for 24 hours. He was in a neck brace but is now back home and in recovery mode. Despite a rough past few days, his mother says that Walker is coming along.
He's in good spirits, I think. He's had quite a few visits from teammates. We've had lots of people check on him, which has been good for him and good for us as well. So it's going to be a process.
Now, speaking of that process, the Robinsons tell me that Walker can't play for the next 4 to 6 weeks. He's also out of school this week, but if things get better, they're hoping he will return to the classroom next week. Jenny?
Right, Graham, thank you very much. Aiken will soon have a new mayor after a recount in the very close race. Only 14 votes separated the challenger, Teddy Milner, and the incumbent, Mayor Rick Osmond. Anything less than 1% triggers an automatic recount following certification. Election officials recounted all 4,261 ballots. The original tally still stands.
There's no reason to think of something was amiss. We are certain of the election results now. But the process has worked, and we're continuing on. And while we hope it always goes this way, we make sure at the same time.
Milner will be unopposed in the November general election, but voters will still be able to vote for write-in candidates. If she's still determined to be the winner, she'll take office at the end of November. Turning now to the weather, get ready to slip up on the heat. Part of Reynolds Street in downtown Augusta is currently closed. News Channel 6's Nikita Dennis joins us now live. And Nikita, a big event happening right now.
Yeah, that's right, Jenny. I'm standing right here between 9th and 10th Street near Reynolds, where fire departments across Georgia will take part in a firefighters competition that is meant to help with teamwork. Firefighters will take on challenging scenarios that they do on a daily basis, helping to save lives. And this is part of the 2023 Georgia Fire Service Conference hosted by the Augusta Fire Department. The competition starts at 5:30 p.m. And if you are coming down this way, like Jenny said, you may have to take a different route because Reynolds between 9th and 10th is blocked off. I have more for you on this story coming up at 5. Live in Augusta, Nikita Dennis, WJBF, News Channel 6.
All right, thanks, Nikita. Discussions are underway to improve the situation at the Olive Road overpass. The low bridge is regularly hit by trucks, and this has resulted in Mayor Johnson having discussions with the owner, CSX Railroad. The mayor says CSX is planning to strengthen the bridge, which will result in it being raised, but only by a couple of inches.
No more than 3 inches. So it's a very minimal raise, but the reasoning for the raising of the bridge is to strengthen the bridge. As I understand, it also creates problems for them when that line is closed as a result of people hitting it. And according to CSX, it costs them somewhere around $50,000 every time that bridge is damaged.
The mayor says CSX is open to adding a new warning device like pipes over the road at bridge height to warn drivers. He says closing the road near the bridge is not being discussed as an option. Your kids will soon be able to learn about nature while having fun at a Columbia County park. 3 nature-themed interactive playgrounds are coming to Martinez Park, which is connected to Blanchard Park. They're targeted toward younger children, teenagers, even adults, and will be completed with hand-painted designs of native Georgia animals. It'll cost close to $1 million to fund those playgrounds. That money will come from a general obligation bond.
This is something totally different than any playground we have in the county. And this, basically, you can bring your kids out here, you can get them out in the nature, walking the trails, and along the way utilize the playground. So this is something totally unique.
Construction started about 2.5 weeks ago, and Hodges says the playground should be complete by the end of October. A new program is underway in the city of Augusta. A celebration held today at Security Federal Bank for the Step Up program. It was created by the Greater Augusta Black Chamber of Commerce. The 12-month program helps new business owners learn about finance, business planning, and business automation, among other things.
We have participated in a few programs, and it tremendously has helped our business with being able to purchase supplies for our restaurant, helping our employees, providing a better work environment for our employees and staff.
The launch is part of a day of events for the Chamber. Tonight, they'll host the Black Business Summit at Augusta Tech, starting at 6 o'clock. Coming up, so many...
We wish you 5 for 6 birthdays for both days because the heat index is going to be oppressive. We're going to talk about that and then the big changes headed our way next week. All coming up in your 5 for 6 forecast.
Now on News Channel 6 at 6, changes coming to the Olive Road overpass. How the mayor says this will help protect the bridge and drivers. Plus a recount in Aiken's mayoral race, what the results were the second time around. And firefighters from around Georgia in Augusta, what they're here for, as your News at 6 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you so much for joining us. Coverage you can count on begins with a South Carolina community mourning the loss of a local teacher today. Everyone, I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you so much for joining us. Coverage you can count on begins with a South Carolina community mourning the loss of a local teacher today after she was killed in a freak accident yesterday. Janelle Robinson was hit by a falling power pole after a work truck hit some power lines pulling down the poles. Robinson was a teacher at Wagner Sally High School. Students, staff, and community members are in shock as they grieve the loss of a beloved teacher, daughter, and friend.
When I learned the details, it was very, very alarming to remember that, you have to count your blessings each day. And to be able to just walk outside and just go on a lunch break to run to the store, it could simply change everything.
Tomorrow's football game and open house at Wagner Sally High School have been canceled to honor Robinson. The Olive Road overpass in Augusta is again a big topic of conversation. The often hit bridge has resulted in a meeting between the owner and the mayor. George Escala reports.
It's enough to stop traffic. Trucks hitting the Olive Road overpass. Now the city and the bridge owner, CSX, are sitting down to talk about what can be done.
Having the right people at the table we're at a point where we will have a conversation that I think will enhance the opportunity of protecting that bridge and also protecting our citizens from in there.
Some years ago, CSX suggested Augusta close the road near the bridge.
Then that's going to make a big detour for the people that work around it. Yeah,
So you don't want the road closed?
I don't see it.
Mayor Johnson says closing the road is not on the table, but changing the bridge is. He says CSX is planning work that would increase the height of the overpass, but not enough to really matter.
No more than 3 inches. So it's a very minimal raise, but the reasoning for the raising of the bridge is to strengthen the bridge. As I understand, it also creates problems for them when that line is closed.
The mayor says discussions also include adding another warning device, like a crossing arm or a padded pipe over the road at bridge height, like you would see at parking garages.
I promise you that there will be a solution provided by CSX, and one that hopefully is embraced by this community.
But the community does understand that raising the bridge by 3 inches isn't going to help.
3 feet, maybe. 3 feet, yes. 3 inches, no.
The mayor says CSX officials will be coming before commissioners at their first meeting in September to discuss plans to stop the hit parade. In Augusta, George Escala, WJBF, News Channel 6.
It is time now for a check. We're learning new details about the North Augusta football player who was taken off the field on a stretcher at last week's game against Evans. News Channel 6's Graham Lee is here now with the latest on Walker Robinson's recovery.
Yeah, Walker Robinson's life turned upside down after that collision last Friday, and his parents say after watching him play football for the last 10 years, they weren't expecting this to happen. Walker fractured 3 vertebrae in the upper part of the spine and also suffered a severe concussion as a result of a collision with his teammates. He was transported to the AU Trauma Center, where doctors evaluated him for 24 hours. He was in a neck brace, but is now back home in recovery mode. Since he returned, his parents say the support has been tremendous.
We had, not only friends and family praying for us, we had the whole community praying for us and for Walker. And it's amazing. I see God all over this.
Now, speaking of that process, the Robinsons tell me Walker can't play for at least the next 4 to 6 weeks. He's also out of school for this week, but if things get better, they are hoping he will return to the classroom next week. Jenny?
All right, Graham, thank you for that report. Today, firefighters from around Georgia are in Augusta for the Georgia Firefighters Competition. Nikita Dennis is live now on Reynolds Street with a preview of all the action. Nikita?
Yeah, fire departments across Georgia are taking part in a firefighters competition between 9th and 10th Street. The competition is meant to help first responders with teamwork, and firefighters will take on challenging scenarios that they do on a daily to save lives, things like working with water hose and putting on uniforms. The conference started yesterday with an opening ceremony for all fire departments participating across the state. Augusta Fire Chief Antonio Burton says this may be a funny bit, but it will help firefighters grow as first responders.
Great way to build camaraderie, great way to come together as one, come together under one common goal, and that's protecting our communities.
Come on, hey, what
I almost got wet because they're doing their scenarios right now. But of course, Reynolds Street between 9th and 10th is blocked off, so you may have to take another route until the competition ends around 8 p.m. tonight. I'll have more on this story coming up at 10 and 11. Right now, live in Augusta, Nikita Dennis, WJBF, Channel 6.
Coming up, former President Donald Trump set to surrender in Atlanta. Why he says he's innocent of all charges next. First, though, a look at what's ahead on News Nation.
One Ford dealer, Gerald Jones Ford, and TruckCenterofAugusta.com.
Former President Donald Trump is expected to surrender to authorities in Fulton County later this evening. There will be no immediate court appearance for former President Trump, but there will likely be a mugshot released. Trump is accused of being the head of a criminal enterprise that attempted to reverse the outcome of the 2020 election in Georgia. He maintains his innocence.
Does it look even more ridiculous? I mean, the 4 indictments, and maybe there'll be more. I don't know. These people are crazy. But the election was rigged. It was a rigged election.
The arraignments for the defendants will likely take place the week following Labor Day. Tim joins us now for another check of the